All right, CNT125, Chapter 8, we're on the section of subnets in IP version 6. With IP version 4, we spent a whole bunch of time on subnetting. There's a limited number of IP addresses, if you will, so we have to break those up and use those as need. When we get to IP version 6, we have substantially more IP addresses, 2 to the 128, giving us 3.4 times 10 to the 38 possible IP addresses. So ISPs can allocate an entire IP subnet, thousands of addresses to a customer, because we have, gazillions and gazillions of addresses, if you will. Yeah, that's Mr. Brown's technical term. So with subnetting in IP6, we're not using classes. There is no class of addresses for IP6, class A, B, class B, class C kind of thing. There are types of IP version 6 addresses, but there's no classes. So we don't really have a subnet mask that we're using. So with IP version 6, remember the first half of our address, that's kind of our network prefix, also called site prefix or global routing prefix, okay? That's identifying essentially the network piece of the address. The last 4 blocks, the last 64 bits, is the interface ID. That would be like the host address, if you will. So if you had to think of that as the host portion, you could do that. So the first part up here, network prefix, or we could call it the network portion, if you will, also called site prefix or global routing prefix. And the last half, the interface ID, or we could call it the host portion if you want to associate it that way. Oftentimes, the actual MAC address for that PC, which is a 48-bit number, gets turned into a 64-bit number and gets used as the tail end of this IP version 6 address. When we do our IP version 6 lab in the lab room, we do just that. We take the MAC address and we plug it in for the last half of our IP version 6 address. So for IP version 6, here's our first portion of the address, the site prefix. There's the last portion of the address, the interface ID. So if you just see where those go. So for IP version 6, they've already allocated that the 4th hexadecimal block can be used for subnets. So as I look in here, this block right in here, right before the middle, can be used for subnet ID. And all I would need to do is just keep track of maybe the A subnet, the B subnet, the C subnet, the D subnet kind of thing. But that chunk, that block of the address can be used for subnetting, this 4th hexadecimal block right there. So if I were to look back here, one slide, I'd be looking at this chunk right in here. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th block. This block right here would be the one, let me highlight that again right there, that we could be using for subnetting. So I could start in there of 0 and do the 1 subnet, the 2 subnet, the 3 subnet, the 4 subnet, and so forth. It's just that easy with IP version 6. So there, as we do our IP version 6 routing lab, we do just that. That block right there, that block right before the break, we have the A subnet, the B subnet, and the C subnet in the little network that we make. But that's why we set that network up that way and choose that A, B, and C subnet, if you will. All right. When we come back, we'll continue on to VLANs.